Concordia. I welcome the opportunity to contribute to the debate this evening. As someone who has lived all my life in a border county, I am acutely aware of the challenges that Brexit presents to this country. And I know the very real fear in communities all across the border region about what the final Brexit outcome will look like and what impact it will have on their lives, on their business, on their farm, on their families. We are living in uncertain times. Indeed, the fact that we are debating legislation tonight that I think it is safe to say everybody in this House hopes will never be needed perhaps sums up that uncertainty best. There will be no winners from a hard Brexit, only losers. Nevertheless, it is incumbent on us as a government to prepare for all eventualities, and in that regard the passage of this legislation is both prudent and necessary. Brexit, in whatever shape it takes, will be difficult for businesses. It will involve a change of some sort, and businesses need to be prepared for that. In the event of a hard Brexit, the immediate impacts for business could include significant sterling volatility, the imposition of the WTO tariffs on Irish goods exported to the UK and on UK goods which we import. As part of our whole-of-government response, my department is working with Brexit-exposed firms, in particular with clients of Enterprise Ireland, IDA, Intertrade Ireland and the local enterprise offices. It is important that we offer supports to our indigenous enterprise to deal with the challenges of Brexit, and that is why all of our agencies have been provided with increased funding specifically for Brexit preparations. A wide range of supports are in place to support business, including a €300 million working capital loan scheme, a €300 million longer-term loan scheme, which will be available from the end of March, the Brexit SME scorecard, which can be used by all Irish companies to self-assess their exposure under 6 pillars, the Market Discovery Fund to support market diversification, a new online customs training tool through Enterprise Ireland, Start to Plan vouchers from Intertrade Ireland worth €2,250. Indeed, in Budget 2019, I increased the budget for Intertrade Ireland by €1 million. That represents an almost 20% increase, and I have to say the work Intertrade Ireland are doing to help businesses prepare both north and south is to be commended. I regret the fact that there is no executive in place in Northern Ireland to provide match funding at this crucial time. I believe the package of Brexit supports that I have introduced through our enterprise agencies to date has been invaluable to many businesses, but I recognise there is still more to do. That is why, under Part 3 of the bill, I am proposing amendments to the Industrial Development Acts 1986 to 2014. This will allow Enterprise Ireland to further support businesses, to help them remain competitive internationally, to sustain and create employment and to facilitate future economic growth, which is extremely important as we deal with challenges such as Brexit. Specifically, amendments in Part 3 of the bill will increase the ability of Enterprise Ireland to support greater R&D activity in its client companies in several critical sectors, so Irish firms can be as competitive as possible on EU and world markets, and the effects of Brexit may be mitigated somewhat. Among other elements, the amendments will facilitate Enterprise Ireland to provide research grants to the horticultural sector for the first time, provide grants to support critical research activity overseas where those research facilities or services are not available or readily available within the state, such as clinical trials for the pharmaceutical and veterinary sectors. It will permit research grants up to permissible EU aid limits. In this regard, the current 50% cap set out in national legislation will be removed. Section 7 provides Enterprise Ireland with the powers to facilitate additional lending investment instruments in certain circumstances, increases the flexibility to support enterprise development and to manage its investments on a par with private sector investors. Such additional powers will help to preserve the value of the state's investment in these businesses and will assist companies through restructuring or redevelopment programmes. I should make the House aware that there are no additional costs to the Exchequer, as the cost in relation to these elements will be accommodated within Enterprise Ireland existing resources, and in certain cases the use of new debt instruments will be provided instead of grants that would otherwise be given. It is worth noting that the introduction of this suite of amendments does not mean that Enterprise Ireland will be obliged to always provide these supports to individual companies. Each project will have to withstand rigorous evaluations and due diligence, as is the norm, to be deemed eligible for agency support. It is now more important than ever that Enterprise Ireland can respond in an agile and flexible manner as the opportunities and challenges for its client companies change, more pertinently in the context of a potential no-deal Brexit and as the investment market changes. It is also important that EI can flexibly deploy the widest array of interventions that match supports available in other countries, particularly now in a Brexit context. These amendments will therefore build upon the already extensive suite of Brexit resilient measures which this government has taken and is taking by supporting businesses through a range of investment instruments, loans and grants as part of the response to limiting the negative effects Brexit could have. It will help Irish businesses to remain competitive, to innovate in terms of new product and service development and to grow in existing and new markets. In relation to queries raised by my colleagues in the Chamber yesterday evening, I'd like to comment quickly on these. In response to Deputy Chambers, I formally launched the first of a series of the Local Enterprise Office Customs Training Workshops in Cavan on Monday of this week, with further workshops taking place throughout the country. These workshops are in addition to Enterprise Ireland's free Customs Insight course, which I launched in December 2018. This course has been developed for all Irish SMEs and is an integral part of Enterprise Ireland's Prepare for Brexit campaign to encourage SMEs to be fully prepared for all eventualities. Information regarding customs has also been available on Revenue's website for some time. In response to Deputy Cullinane, I would point out that legislation is not required in the Brexit Omnibus Bill regarding state aid, as this is formed at EU level. However, my department has been proactively engaging with the European Commission for some time to find solutions to assist Irish enterprises. The technical group established has achieved results that benefit our Irish businesses. For example, just last week, the European Commission gave state aid approval for national investment in an Irish cheese-producing company. Of course, my officials and I will be happy to respond to any further queries deputies may have as the bill progresses through the Houses. My department, along with our enterprise and regulatory agencies, are taking every possible step to ensure that Irish businesses are as prepared for Brexit as they possibly can be. However, as I said at the outset, there are no winners from Brexit. It remains my strong hope that the withdrawal agreement will be accepted by the United Kingdom. But should the worst come to pass, and if we end up with a no-deal scenario, the passage of these amendments, together with the wide range of supports already put in place by government, will ensure that we have the necessary suite of tools in place to assist business in what is, without doubt, going to be an extremely challenging period ahead. Gura Maith Agat.